Many years ago, one decision changed everything. Grace Okonkwo thought she had escaped her past, but destiny never forgets. In the busy city of Lagos, she built a new life, found love, and even dreamed of motherhood again. But life had other plans for her. Grace was 19 when she made the hardest choice of her life. It was a rainy night outside St. Mary's Orphanage. She stood, shivering under a dim street light, her baby wrapped in a faded yellow cloth. Her mother's words echoed painfully in her head. "You have brought shame to this family." Tears mingled with the rain as she whispered, "I'm sorry, I can't do this." She kissed the baby's forehead, laid her gently at the orphanage gate, and ran away as thunder rolled across the sky. That night, Grace left more than a baby behind. She left a piece of herself. Years passed. The frightened teenage mother became a confident woman. At 30, Grace Okonkwo had built a new life. A respected marketing manager in Lekki, dressed in elegance and purpose. On the outside, she had it all. Inside, she carried a silence that followed her everywhere. Then came David Williams, calm, kind, the kind of man who spoke with patience and loved without conditions. They met at a business conference, and his warmth broke through her guided heart. Within 2 years, they were married at Our Lady of Peace Cathedral, a ceremony filled with laughter, dancing, and promises. Grace believed she had outrun her past, but peace can't survive where secrets hide. Behind her smile was an ache, the empty sound of a home without a child's laughter. Years later, the silence between them grew louder. After several failed attempts to conceive, they visited the doctor. Grace sat on the edge of the hospital bed, clutching David's hand as the doctor spoke gently. "Mrs. Williams, I'm sorry. It may be difficult for you to conceive naturally." Those words echoed like a sentence. Difficult to conceive. As they drove home, Lagos traffic blurred around them, but inside the car, silence. David tried to console her. "We will find a way, Grace. Maybe God has another plan." She nodded weakly, holding back tears. That night, she cried quietly beside him while he slept, her heart breaking in the dark. Weeks turned into months. Fertility treatments, prayers, and hope. Nothing worked. Then one evening, David walked into the living room with 2 cups of tea. "Grace," he said softly, "what if we adopt?" The word hit her like a knife. "Adopt," she repeated, her voice trembling. "You think I can love another woman's child like mine?" David smiled faintly. "I think you can love any child, Grace, because your heart was made for it." She looked into his eyes and saw sincerity. "I don't know if I'm strong enough," she whispered. "Then we will be strong together," he said. That night, Grace knelt beside her bed. For the first time in years, she prayed. Not for herself, for a child who needed love. She didn't know that prayer would soon be answered in a way she could never imagine. When they arrived at St. Mary's Orphanage in Surulere, Grace's heart raced. The sound of children laughing filled the courtyard. But one girl caught her attention. A quiet little girl, sitting alone under a mango tree, sketching in a notebook. "Who is that?" Grace asked softly. "That's Amara," Sister Miriam said. "She's 9, been here since she was a baby. No one knows her parents." Grace walked closer. "Hi, Amara," she said warmly. "What are you drawing?" "The sky," the girl replied, still focused on her paper. "It changes every day." Grace smiled. Something about her tone, her calmness, her spirit felt strangely familiar. She couldn't explain it. Over the next few weeks, they visited often. Grace brought storybooks, small gifts, laughter. Amara began to open up, calling her Auntie Grace. David watched quietly, smiling as a bond formed before his eyes. Every time the girl laughed, Grace felt warmth and guilt, as if her soul was remembering something she couldn't name. Months later, the adoption process began. Grace and David sat across from Sister Miriam, excitement in their eyes. Papers were being signed when an old envelope slipped out of Amara's file. Sister Miriam picked it up curiously and opened it. Inside was a small handwritten note, yellowed by time. "To whoever finds her, please take care of my baby. Her name is Amara. Signed, Grace O." The nun's hand froze. She looked up slowly. "Grace, your full name is Grace Okonkwo, isn't it?" Grace nodded. "Yes, why?" Sister Miriam's voice shook. "This note was written by the woman who left Amara here 9 years ago." The room went still. Grace stared blankly, her heart pounding. "What did you say?" Sister Miriam gently slid the note across the table. Grace picked it up and saw her old handwriting. The ink smudged by tears she had shed that night years ago. Her fingers trembled. Her chest tightened. "No, no, it can't be," she gasped. "This is my writing." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Oh my God, I left her. I left my own child." David looked at her in shock, unable to speak. Grace stood abruptly, clutching the paper to her chest as her body shook. She ran out into the hallway, collapsing against the wall. David followed, holding her tightly as she sobbed uncontrollable. "It's her, David," she cried. "Amara, she's mine, the baby I left at the gate." David held her close. "Grace, maybe this isn't punishment. Maybe God brought her back to you." Later that evening, Grace walked into Amara's small room. The girl was sitting on the bed, holding her drawing, the same picture of the sky that changes every day. Grace knelt beside her, tears still glistening in her eyes. "Amara," she whispered, "there is something I need to tell you." The girl looked up, curious. "Yes, Auntie." "You once had a mother who couldn't stay. She made a terrible mistake. That mother was me." Amara blinked, silent for a moment. Then she said softly, "So, you came back?" Grace broke down, nodding. "Yes, my child, I came back." The little girl reached out and hugged her. Grace held her tightly, crying into her shoulder, the weight of guilt replaced by the warmth of forgiveness. In that moment, Two broken hearts became one again, not through blood, but through grace. Weeks later, the family walked out of the orphanage together. Grace held Amara's hand on one side and David's hands on the other side. The morning sun shone softly over them, a new beginning. Back home, laughter filled their apartment for the first time. Amara painted by the window while Grace cooked. David sat nearby, watching his family. The life he had prayed for, now whole again. Grace often looked at her daughter and whispered, "You are my second chance." Because sometimes life takes everything from you just to give it back in a way you will never forget. Grace thought she had lost her child forever, but what she really lost was herself until love brought her home. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, it rewrites it with grace. Thank you for watching this story. And always remember, life sometimes throws at us second chances. Give this story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you are yet to do so. Bye.